Trying to make some time across South Dakota, 95-degree days, and the car ignition would shut down during the heat, and I'd have to cool it down about 40 minutes, and I'd start running again. Diminished power, couldn't climb the hills very well, had to go a little slow up some of the hills in South Dakota. Big question is whether to keep rolling 130 miles into Sioux Falls, or do I turn and go north or south off the interstate by 40 miles to go to nearest community for parts. Instead, I decided to head into Sioux Falls, but then I also decided to run up to North Dakota and back, even at diminished power, because I needed to get that done on my list. It was Saturday evening, had a full moon, so I ran up to North Dakota. My GPS does not quite show it, but I did make it up to North Dakota. It's just had some issues there as well. So I get back to South Dakota, Sioux Falls area. I buy some parts, some new spark plugs, and then the next day I take the time to change those out. And here's some of the things that I found while doing that maintenance.
Okay, so if you don't have a gas lawnmower, you run an electric lawnmower, how are you learning about spark plugs? If you're not learning about spark plugs on small engines and stuff, then how do you know to take care of your car? Okay, it's just basic stuff. This is some stuff that my dad taught me, and that I think the next generation is going to be having some problems because they're not out there trying to get the lawnmower to work. Why? Because they don't want to do it by hand. You can go mow the lawn with scissors or whatever you want, but the lawnmower makes it get done faster. So you're going to figure out whatever it takes to get it working. So you learn about motors, and you keep the motor running so you get your chores done faster. Well, the same thing goes if you don't keep your car running, you're going to be walking, or a lot of Uber bills or Lyft or whatever you're doing. But it's a little bit of basic thing that you should learn in life. Some things you can do yourself. Some of the newer cars, they're harder to get to, and they keep making it so you have to have special tools. Well, that's a pain in the neck. Quit buying things that need all that stuff, and maybe the manufacturers will learn. And it's just getting crazy. This is nice and basic, 6 cylinders right on top. The Toyota Celica, which I drove around the country, had 4 cylinders right on the side, easy to get to. So try to get the message to manufacturers. Make something you can live with, that you can work on. Okay, I like to put a little WD-40 on the threads before I put them in there. Keep corrosion and stuff, make sure watching not to knock anything down in the hole. But a little WD-40 on the threads helps out for the older cars, in my opinion. Okay, these spark plug wires definitely have melted on the manifold. I got to see if I get a replacement set because they're melted out the insulation and grounding out. So see if that'll help me out down the road. Okay, we're doing plug number 5 now. That off. Losing some of my stuff here to the wind. A little bit of corrosion and crud there, a little bit of melting on the wire. That one's melted through. So we're gonna have to see about getting some wires. But let's see if we can't get this plug out of here and see what it looks like. Nice and accessible on the top for these compared to some V8s and stuff. I do have to watch for a lot of the buildup of just corrosion and dirt. Kind of falls right in here. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, the ceramic failed here right as I was removing the plug. Yeah, got some guts come out of the ceramic, pretty corroded. I think we got our money's worth out of that one. There's your problem. It came apart in my hand. The other part's in the plug wire. And that's what their plug looks like. So, it was running, but it was due for some change. So a lot of times, don't overthink the situation. Just do it a little at a time and figure it out. And that's about all it takes. So we got melted wires, that's a problem. We got old plugs, so we're heading in the right direction. So the top end of that spark plug, or the ceramic, it broke, came off in the plug socket in the rubber in the top there. It was not actually in the ignition wire. So we got that out, and we're moving forward. Okay, gap the plug, and we're putting it back in there. Put some WD-40 on that. Run it down in there. It'd be nice to have some shop air and blast it out, but instead I just blow on everything. Maybe I got enough hot air to do the job. We'll see. That should be torqued enough. You can have all these fancy tools in the world. Sometimes the simplest thing works. A pen. Just run it around the spark plug and then blow on it. Get kind of a face of dirt a little bit. It leaves it nice for doing the plug. Anyway, keep it simple. This one's coming out nice and easy. Very accessible right here in the front and middle. The challenging one is going to be in the back here where I have some fittings in the way. But gotta take the easy ones when you can. Yeah, that's carboned up a bit, but still probably what was getting me around. There's what it looks like. Bit carboned up, but hey, it was still moving. But we'll see if we can fix that. Maybe our fuel economy will improve too. So I got a little bit of painter's tape with me, and I label each plug as I take them out. This here is number 4, but that's the way we do things. My dad was an engineer, and you document, and you record, and you label. And labeling these helps, because if I look back at them later, if I get another opinion or whatever, I know exactly which cylinder they came from. They're not mixed up. Only takes a second. Put a label on it. Makes life that much easier. Dad would be proud. We're using Champion plugs because that's what part number Jag required, but also my dad always used Champion plugs. Sometimes we use NGKs and stuff, but for the most part, lawnmower, tractors, everything, he seemed to always have Champion plugs. So they had them there, and so we're just staying with what works. So even though the plugs are gapped from the factory, they do a pretty good job, but you're here, might as well check it. Doesn't get any easier. You know, $7 tool, $11 tool, check it. At least then you know if you got a good gap, it'll give you a good spark, long time running. So take the time, a few minutes, check things out. Okay, put some WD-40 on there. Holes all cleaned out. Get it started. We're not in a rush. Thing's 40 years old. I take care of it. There we go. That's what we're talking about. 6 plugs, doesn't take that much time. Nice day today. Get the whole parking lot to myself. Just takes a bit of the right tools, a little bit of patience, and we'll be running in no time. I still can't believe it got so hot under this hood that these spark plug wires melted. Man, it was pretty hot here the other day, but I mean, it's a spark plug wire. It's made for heat. Yeah, it couldn't handle that heat. That's pretty amazing. Oh, hey, this one. Might need to give that the pen treatment a little bit here. For some reason, look like crunchy goodness. We see all that junk fly out there? Man. That'll make a difference. Now let's see if we can get that wrench on there. There we go. That's the goodness we're looking for. Looked like plug 3 was doing its work in the middle of the pack. Looked clean. A little bit of carbon on the side, but not too bad at all. That plug 3 was earning its keep, keeping everything running. Anyway, give plug 3 some credit. Okay, plug 3 got its label, so it can be proud. Proud number 3. Looks like it was running a lion's share of the work right there. Way to go, plug number 3. If I skip by number 2, plug 2 and plug 3 were holding the show together. Plug 2 is looking pretty clean. Looking like 2 and 3 were holding down the fort. So that's probably what kept us running. Thanks number 2, thanks number 3 for holding it up for the rest of the team. Number 3 and number 2 cylinders were the workhorses here. Number 2 is going in there nice and easy. Get this changed out, tape up some of the wires, and we'll be able to get down the road. Okay, just for mentioning, my dad would say we need our overalls on because we're working on the car, but it's darn hot down here. I don't know how these folks do it. I don't know how the engine got so hot just running. I mean, it ran coolant temperatures, but boy, underneath this hood, it was hot. So I'm not wearing overalls. Instead, I'm sporting my Coldfoot Alaska t-shirt. Yeah, drive up to Coldfoot and get yourself one. It's only 250 miles north of Fairbanks on the haul road. But now sure, I could probably crank these 6 out really quick, probably faster than this video. It takes longer to make the video than just to do the work. But taking my time, clean things out, nice slow methodical process, labeling everything, documenting that I definitely need some spark plug wires. It's amazing. That's probably a lot of my issues right there. So next thing is I'll go find some spark plug wires. But I'm on the last plug. The last plug is going to be a little challenging just because I got some of my bracketry here that I plugged up the emissions stuff, push back in for. Anyway, that's what's going on. I'll try to keep you posted. Man, things start to hide in plain sight. Set my pen down, it's white, blends in with everything with the chrome. But the pen sure is handy. It's right in the crack, right where I need it. I can blow the dust out, dirt. So, pretty handy. Gotta like the inline 6 though, right on top. Access works pretty good. That little rubber in that wrench was keeping it from going down all the way. Wasn't getting a hold of the hex. So, okay, here on the last plug, made it past my bracketry here, my plug for the emissions. I just need that to come out. Yeah, that's not wanting to. There we go. Now we got to fight on. Now we're talking business. Got a little bit of weeping going on for that last port for injection for the emissions. The emissions regas. So I have to research that one a little bit, but
It just looks lubricated a bit. Well, there's a problem there. A little bit of metal bits there. But at 40 years old, you're gonna have some issues, right? Just gotta run what you brought. So there, it's got a little bit between the corrode there. It looks like some metal bits a little bit from the threads, but a lot of carbon buildup. So we'll see what we can do about that.
Okay, I'm back here working on the car. Plug 1 right here was being a little stubborn. I took the old one out, had some crud in it and filings a little bit in the threads. The threads were a little tough and corroded. So I tried to put one in, it wouldn't get started. I tried a number of times, different techniques, so that I go, hey, I still got another plug. So I just took another plug, put a bunch of WD-40 on it, got it started. It'd go down there about half the way and it'd gall up. So rather than force it, take your time, because the patient wants to last a long time. 40 years doesn't mean that anybody just jam something in there. So back it out, gave it some WD-40, ran it in there again, backed it out, did it a few times until we got to that corrosion part and walked through the threads, each time cleaning a little bit out at a time. So finally got it seated all the way down. So it's looking good, but got a lot of that cleaned up. It's a matter of patience. It's a lot easier running in and out a few times, get the threads cleaned out and use a little WD-40 than to strip the threads or to force something. So to any of the young guys out there, young gals, anybody young working on it, take your time, and it's not a force issue. It's a matter of finesse. Take your time to put it together. It'll last a long time, thanks. Okay, let's document some of this melting here. So this here went to plug 1 in the back. Visualize that. So it melted on this block here. There's our problem. So we need to get some more electrical ignition wires. A little bit of pinch there. Oh, here it is. It's on the underside of that. And then some of these up here melted as well. Let's get that from the other side. So, not a sponsor, but it sure could be. This is self-fusing rescue tape found at the truck stop. So I bought this the other day when I had ignition's here, 950 psi, 500 degrees, 8,000 volts, and that it doesn't doesn't use any adhesive. Just sticks to itself. Well worth it compared to regular electrical tape. This here is just silicone tape that wraps to itself. It can handle 500 degrees. So we're gonna use that on the ignition wires to get us to the next auto parts store and see if we can get some ignition wires. Okay, sealing up some of these wires with silicone tape. It sure is handy tape. Not always the easiest to work with because it sticks to itself, but like it just did right there. Thank you for showing off electrical tape. Turn the camera on and you start having attitude. Well, let's just see what we can do here. Well, if we need to, we'll just cut that excess off. Move on down to the next one. Main trick I think with this here is try not to make it too long, because then it flops around and adheres to itself. So should keep it from grounding out. Unless it's grounded to itself, but the shield, we'll have to play that by ear, go see if we can find some new wires. I think I might put a tie on that just to keep it off everything. Yeah, that's what it might take. Alright, not my first choice to use electrical in this kind of heat, a plastic piece, but let's try. Go this direction. I hold it up off that manifold a little bit there, because darn, those are, I mean, that's what melted out the hosing that I had back there too. This is all the heat on this thing. There we go. I'll keep it straight up for a while. If it does this in 80-degree weather, 80, 90-degree running weather, what does it do down in Arizona, like 115? I mean, that's some crazy heat. At least in the cold, we can put blankets around, you know, kind of keep the heat in. But man, this is just hot. Poor car underneath the hood. Okay, I think we got them tied up the best we can without getting too crazy. Kind of wrapped them with silicone tape, sparingly a little bit, and we'll see how that runs. Okay, we put those in. It's time to start it up and see how it runs. We'll head on over to the parts store and see if we get some more coil wires, but let's see how it runs for now. Cylinders 2 and 3 been holding their weight. Let's see if the rest of them want to chip in and help. Okay, already a stronger, steady idle. That's working really good. Sounding a lot smoother, a lot stronger. See how it runs today. A little care and maintenance will go a long way. Here's what the old spark plugs look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two and 3, we're holding things together for the team. Kind of like a dog team. Some are pulling harder than others, but you want them all to work together. That's just a spark plug, changed spark plugs here in the hotel parking lot. Seems to be running pretty good for the spark plug wires we have on there at this time. But we'll see how it drives.
So this was some of the maintenance I took care of in South Dakota. Once I got some parts, this was a Sunday. I had to get the parts on there and get going because I then drove over to Iowa, down to Nebraska, back up to Minnesota, across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, to Ohio. So to meet up with my family. So please like and subscribe. Follow along our journey here across America. This is Alaska Road Trippers. We'll be seeing you on down the road.